Welcome to the Bastrop Podcast. Real people, real stories, all from right here in Bastrop, Texas. I'm your host, Matt Walker, a local business owner, realtor, and entrepreneur with Wisdom House Realty Group and Bastrop Drone and Media Company. We sit down with the locals, shaping our community, from the mayor's office to Main Street shops, and bring you the voices behind the town we call home. Alrighty, thank you so much, Steve, for joining us today. How are you doing?
I am doing well. It's been a good morning.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and how long you've been in Bastrop County and what brought you here?
We got to Bastrop County in 2006. I was hired on in Smithville as an administrator at the elementary campus. Brought my 2-year-old daughter and 6-month-old son with us. My wife stayed home with them, and then we had 2 more kids while we were here. I spent 15 years working in the Smithville school system and then retired from there in 21.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. And what have you been doing since 21 then?
After I retired, I ended up working with WoodmenLife, where I am now. And I went in a little bit begrudgingly because throughout my life, the life insurance salesman was always the joke. They were always the comic relief. And one of my former colleagues actually recruited me. And I said, there is no way I'm going to sell life insurance. And she said, no, just come talk to us. And she said, you're not selling life insurance, you're solving problems. And at first I thought she was just kind of blowing smoke. But after I saw what she did and what the product was and how it really does help people and it does solve the problem, I thought this is something I can do. And just about every day I am shocked at how much I enjoy the life insurance industry.
That's cool to hear. So you had a previous colleague who got you into WoodmenLife. What led you to get involved on the community side of what they do?
The easiest thing about working for Woodmen is I believe in the company's vision. The company was founded in the 1890s by a group of people, it's probably the easiest way to say, a group of people who wanted to protect families and they wanted to do something for their community. And so they formed this company, this association, and their commitment to caring for the community is one of the things that sets them apart. As a not-for-profit, rather than having profit, we have surplus, and that surplus goes back to the community. And the things that we do are things that I already believed in before we started. There's the Hunger Awareness Program, or Food Insecurity, as it's called today, that we have both on a local level through the food banks and on a national level through some national programs. There is the flag program that we have. WoodmenLife has given away more flags than anyone except the U.S. government. And the recognition of first responders and our veterans, both things that I believe in and supported even before coming to Woodmen. And then just being involved in the community. One of the things that I did after leaving education was I got involved with the Rotary Club. And I got involved with that because they also believe in community. And so from the service side through Rotary and my professional side through WoodmenLife gives me multiple opportunities to do that.
That's cool. It's really cool. For listeners who may not be familiar, what exactly is a local WoodmenLife chapter and what does the Bastrop County chapter do?
So Woodmen divides up its territories or its regions into chapters. The Bastrop chapter is just what it sounds like, is the Bastrop County. Some chapters are larger than a county. Some counties have multiple chapters depending on where you are. The chapter originally was part of the fraternal arm, and there was lots of activities. We used to have camps, and even there's different chapters that have bands and athletic programs where they would compete against other chapters and such. In the busy world we're in today, the chapter has become more of the service side. The Bastrop chapter is still growing, and so it is not as active as we hope for it to be. Or I should say, the chapter is active. The members don't participate as much as we hope. But as I mentioned, people are so busy today to have one more thing to do. But it is an arm that we use to reach out to the community.
Yeah, and I completely understand the busyness of current life running 3 businesses right now. So it gets a little crazy. But I mean, you yourself, you're in both Rotary as well as Woodmen, as well as, what was the last one?
Yeah, B&I and the Chamber.
Yeah, so you're running around like crazy as well.
It's one of the great things about the job. People ask, well, why'd you leave education? And there was a couple of them, but the biggest one was I realized that I spent 27 years raising everybody else's kids, sometimes at the expense of my own children. And the year I retired, my oldest child was graduating high school, and I realized I had missed a lot of her experiences. And so when I left, my commitment was I will absolutely choose to do the student activities, my children activities first. And this job allows for that flexibility. In the years I've been doing this, I have gone to a lot of soccer games, cross-country meets, track meets. I participate quite a bit in one of my student schools. I think I'm about to be recruited to be a house parent at the school, which I'm thrilled to do because I have really enjoyed participating with my kids in their activities.
So what is a house parent at the school?
That is a good question. I'm still learning what that is, which is one reason why I haven't said yes yet.
Okay, fair enough. My parents were house parents at the Milton Hershey School out in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yes.
And so they had 12 middle school boys living in this house, and then my parents had like an apartment attached to the house. And so when the kids were going to the school, they would come home to that house. And then, for holidays or whatever, they might go to families or over the summer. But even over the summer, there were some kids who would stay on campus the whole time. And so when I hear house parents, that's what comes to my mind. I imagine it's not quite...
Not anything near that. I believe this is more of a PTA volunteer type of thing.
Gotcha. Nice.
Much less of a commitment level than
a full... that was a full-time... It was a lot, but it was good. So we've seen WoodmenLife's name at a lot of local events and gatherings. Can you share a few ways your team gets involved around Bastrop County?
Yes. The most visual way is our giant flag. We have a 30-foot by 60-foot American flag. It's awe-inspiring. I'm a fairly even keel, emotional, neutral kind of person. My wife would say stoic. And the first time that we flew that flag vertically off of a fire truck, and it started coming out of the box that we keep it in and coming out, it is probably the most emotional I have been about seeing our flag. It was amazing to watch. And then the thrill was it's out there. It was at a chamber luncheon for the November Veteran Appreciation Luncheon. And people were pulling into the parking lot and seeing it and then walking up and saying, oh man, when I was at the corner, I saw it from the theater and I saw it from Chestnut, and they were stopping to get their picture taken with it. It just really felt good. It was emotional. It was an emotional moment. We also have used it at athletic events, mostly football games, which is probably the most common use of it. And on those events, they fly horizontally with people holding it. And that's a lot of fun. Usually we'll try to get some kids to be a part of it, and they think that's a big deal because they're on the field. We did use it at a Round Rock Express game. One of the things that the chapter did was we had a member event where we provided tickets to go to a Round Rock baseball game. That was on the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. And so that was fun to participate with them in that and to celebrate our veterans that way. On a less visible note, we have participated with CASA, providing backpacks and back-to-school supplies for kids. We have done some work with Pastor Nava and In the Street, Hands Up High Ministries, supporting their organization, the food banks that I mentioned earlier. And then we have done a number of things with the schools, supporting the teachers, which it's a Woodman function, but being a former educator, teachers are near and dear to my heart. Mm-hmm. They're the front line of making sure we last another generation.
Yeah, my brother was a teacher for a little while, and it's rough out there for them. So I 100% agree with that. The flag presentation ceremonies are something people instantly recognize. What do those ceremonies mean to you personally, and do you have a favorite memory from one?
The favorite memory probably is that one that we did, the flag at the chamber. One of the ceremonies that we do that I haven't got to participate in yet is that we will supply the flags to nonprofits to replace their flags on the flagpole. And my frustration with it is we'll go to our monthly meetings, and that's one of the things that they call out is the rep had this many flag replacement ceremonies. And I told my area director, I said, we can't do them in Bastrop because people take such good care of their flags, and they're so quick to make sure that they have a flag that's not tattered, that's in good shape, that I will drive around looking for flags to replace, and I can't find them because the people of Bastrop County apparently just have great honor and esteem for our flag, and they take good care of it. So that is not a call for people to not do that, but it is a call to say we are here and would love to present you a flag and be a part of that honoring.
That's cool. I think that speaks a lot to just Bastrop County. So beyond the flag program, what kind of projects has your chapter helped with in our community? Things like supporting first responders or local nonprofits.
WoodmenLife does have a special program for first responders where if a first responder is killed in the line of duty, there is an additional benefit for them. And so as a part of reaching out to them, we have provided meals at their meetings and done some outreach in that way. And then through the flags, trying to make sure they have good flags at their posts. But like I said, they take care of them. And then I know that when Pastor Nava at Hands Up High had a issue with their pump, that we made a donation to them to help replace that pump. And we are working on a first responders appreciate. November is First Responder Appreciation Month, and we had planned to provide a meal for them on the actual first responder day. Someone beat us to it, so we're working to reschedule that. And then, although not first responders, as I have learned more about them, the hospice industry, they are some unsung heroes. And so I've been working with one hospice in particular, to just reach out and express gratitude to them because they do amazing work.
Yeah, that's got to be a tough environment to be in and around. And that's definitely cool that you're able to show support for them.
And I think one reason I connected is we are much in the same business. We are in end-of-life business. And there's also the same misunderstanding that people will say, oh, we called in hospice. And they whisper it. And the hospice nurses I've met said, no, we've called in hospice because we want to celebrate this person. We want these last days to be times of joy and celebration. And the caregivers need that rest, and they need to continue living their life and know that life is continuing. And we do much that same thing, that when people hear life insurance, they think, oh, I don't talk about that. That's talking about death. No, we're talking about legacy. We're talking about those who are left and what's going to happen, and providing for them and making sure that these things that you've tried to build continue. And so I think that's part of the reason why I've also connected with hospice so much.
I know your chapter is partnered with CASA of Bastrop, Fayette, and Lee counties. Can you tell us a little bit about the relationship and the impact you've seen from it?
Yes. I'm going to tell a story. There was a priest named Henry Nowlin, and he became fairly well known and kind of a mover and shaker in his circle. And a colleague of his said he wanted him to come out to this home that was for special needs people. And he went out and visited, and it took about a year to get him to go. He finally went out and visited. He told the guy, he said, I just don't think I have anything to give them. And his friend said, you're not giving anything to them. I want you to go because they have something to give you. And when I go into CASA and we donate these backpacks, and we don't get to actually see the kids who get them because privacy issues and all those things. But it's an intense reminder of how very much I have, and that these petty things that I complain about, or, oh, I wish I had, or if I look on Facebook and, oh, look what that person's doing. I think these are families that need somebody to provide a $20 backpack, and that's going to make a difference. And so it touches me that I can be somebody who can make that difference.
You've also supported local schools and youth programs like Smithville High's Tiger Theater. Why is that kind of involvement important to you?
That one is intensely personal. When I was an administrator at the high school, we had a fantastic music teacher. She was phenomenal. And she took a job at another district, so we had to replace her. And we went through, I believe, 3 theater teachers in 2 years. And then this kid walks in, and he was just hilarious. He was so passionate. And I said, that is who we have to hire. So we hired Dustin Hensley. There are 3 moments in my educational career where I think those were really good decisions. He's one of them. Years later, my third son in junior high needed an elective, and he ended up in theater class. And Mr. Hensley created a place where people belong. And that son is now a senior, and he's been in that program every year. Constantly, we have theater kids at our house. In fact, last weekend, they had Friendsgiving at our house that he and my other son put on, because my wife and I were doing something in Austin, and these kids came out there, and because of Mr. Hensley's passion for theater, his passion for kids, my son had a place to belong through junior high and high school. And these other kids had a place to belong because they didn't fit into athletics and they didn't fit into some of the other places, but he gave them a place to belong, and he made a difference in their lives. I cannot repay that, but I can support his program. He is a highlight. So that theater program is just, it's a special place.
That's cool. So when it comes to hands-on volunteer projects, what type of things would you love to see happen next here in Bastrop County?
Oh, goodness. I am so busy with the ones we're doing. It's hard to see.
Or maybe even just more involvement in the ones that you're already doing right now.
So Rotary has partnered with Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which is a national organization that makes beds for kids who don't have beds. They have homes, but they don't have beds. And when I first learned about it, the gentleman who was speaking to our Rotary group said there were 20,000 kids in Austin who are sleeping on the floor. And that is just outrageous in the society we live in. There's no reason for that. And so the Bastrop Rotary has said, we will do that for Bastrop County. And our first build, we said, we'll do 10 beds. And so we reached out to school counselors and other organizations. Hey, do you have anybody? And before we built the beds, we were already behind. We had 14 kids who needed beds. We just did a build of 35 beds, I believe. And all of those were gone like that. And we were able to do more because we did get a grant with Bastrop County Cares. They were a great funder of that. And they actually came out and helped build the beds. And it's a fantastic experience to go out and watch this process where we're building beds so kids can sleep in a bed. Probably a project is I would love to see more people volunteering at our parks. Bastrop County has 2 fantastic state parks. And when I moved here in 2006, I had been running on asphalt, and a friend of mine who already lived here said, hey, let's go run at the park. And I quickly converted to trail running. In the 19 years I've been here, probably less than 20 weeks, I didn't spend at least 2 days in one of those parks. After the fires in 2011, Bastrop State Park was devastated. In 2015, Bisher was severely damaged, and the Parks Department has done a great job of rebuilding it, but there's still a lot of work to do. And they are places that I cherish and are a gem in this county that a lot of people don't know about. But I would probably like to see more volunteer work out there.
The fires we weren't in Texas yet, even at that point, but just the reverberations that are still felt to this day, they're still there.
I still sometimes have trouble going through the park. I still go out there, but there's times like I'll be going along and I think, I remember the trail used to go here. Or you'll see the charred trunk of a tree. And it's still an emotional experience these years later.
You touched on it earlier, but you've hosted the flag events at the Cotton Bowl Speedway and Dell Diamond. What experience like from your side of things, organizing or participating in those events?
It is lots of work up front. The Dell Diamond one took about 5 months to organize and execute. The Cotton Bowl Speedway took over a year. That was mainly just getting in contact and getting the right date. The lady who owns Cotton Bowl Speedway, very easy to work with, but she is running this operation, and I am one person in a long list of emails that she's trying to respond to. I should probably give a shout out to Lynn Shirk of Sparrow Appraisal. She was instrumental in making that happen. There's a lot of prep work that goes into it, but then you get there the day of. What we like to do is use people who are just there. Hey, come out and help us with the flag. And so even once I'm there, there's still a lot of scurrying about and gathering people up and getting them on the field, and this is how you hold it. And, it's going to touch the ground, but we do our best to keep it off the ground. But then we get down there and we're holding it and the national anthem is playing. And at Cotton Bowl Speedway, I don't know if you've been out there, but when they do the national anthem, they have one of the race cars go around the track with the flag on there, and those cars are loud. They are so loud, but you're on the field or on the infield and the car's going by and the people are singing it. It's an amazing experience. And I typically will take one of the corners so I can stand there and survey this event. And it's humbling. When you think about what are we now, 251 years of our country and the sacrifices, not just military, but that the Rosie the Riveter keeping the country going, and the farmers who plowed the land and fed us, and the poets who wrote about it, and the families who built the country. And I know that every country has that story in there, but this is my story. And being there and that flag represents my part in that story. It's pretty humbling. It's a pretty humbling experience.
Yeah, I could imagine that. To your point earlier of when At first and felt just a very emotional kind of response to something like that. Thinking back of your time with WoodmenLife, what's been the most meaningful or memorable moment for you personally?
There's really three areas that I get touched by. One is when I can sit with a young couple and one, educate them on the value of life insurance and the role that it plays. And then they decide, yes, we're going to do this. And there's one family in particular, they are former students of mine, which made it extra special. And what I know is if something were to happen to one of them, their little girl's going to be okay because they made this plan. And it gives me the sense of I'm doing something meaningful. My friend that I go to the parks with, we were talking the other day, he was a school administrator also, about how the further up we moved in our educational career, the less meaningful our work seemed to become because we were getting further and further away from students. And it's really nice to have this sense of I'm doing something meaningful. And so that's one, is that memory of I have made a difference. I've solved the problem. I've solved the problem of if something happens to one of the two breadwinners, they don't have to move out of their house. They don't have to not send their child to college because we've put something in place. The second would be the retiring person who has built this nest egg and now wants to retire and enjoy. And we have some things that we do to create a lifetime income, protect them from the up and down of the market. And I think about my own parents and I think, how would I want people to treat them? Especially my mother. My father died in 2013. And that was the first time I saw the impact of life insurance because he took good care of her. They made a plan together. And so she has been cared for through that. But when I'm working with people who are retiring, I think, how would I want people to treat my parents? And I try to take that approach. And then the other is working with people, and again, especially young people. And as we mentioned before we started, today under 40 is young, but to help them get started on a retirement account. I had great teaching as a child. My parents were good about instructing me, and I remember we had a guest speaker in my economics class talking about investing and what happens with investing. And we all like, oh, that's amazing, that's amazing. And we didn't do it. And I did a little bit of investing, and so I have a little bit of a nest egg. But what I recognize today is you can earn more in retirement than you can while you're working if you make good decisions while you're working. And so when I get to work with someone and they make that decision, and I think, if you will stick with this, you're going to get to join the country club and be on a boat and go on safari and do all those things because you made the decision. And again, it goes back to that problem solving, that we solve problems. So I get to see that we really are solving problems.
That's cool. For anyone listening who wants to get involved, volunteer, or partner with your chapter, what's the best way to connect or follow along?
The chapter is made up of members, and to be a member, you have a policy. Although we certainly will take volunteers at any point. Probably the easiest way to reach me is just give me a call or shoot me a text. And I always tell people, text whenever you want, because if you text after hours, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Just reach out and let me know that you want to participate. And like I said at the beginning, Woodman's an easy company to work for because I believe in the vision, and it really is about building community and caring for the community.
Nice. What are 60 seconds of wisdom that you could give to our listeners?
Oh, okay. When I was listening to your podcast, I actually thought about that. I had a great answer, and now I've forgotten what it is. Okay, 60 seconds of wisdom. I would start with be kind because nice matters. Followed with it's not all about you, that find a way to help somebody else. And then I'd end with do something today your future self will thank you for. And that can be eat a healthy meal, go for a walk, buy life insurance, whatever it is. But think about tomorrow. Don't act just for today.
I like it. How can people best reach out to you?
Through my phone is probably the best. Or they can email me. Email is swshroeder@woodmenlife.org. And then phone number 512-294-3154. And you can call or text that.
Sounds great. Well, Steve, I thank you so much for joining us today. This has been great getting to know you a bit more and getting to know more about WoodmenLife and everything that you guys are doing. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate y'all doing this. It's been fun listening to the other people around the community, hearing people that I know, and then learning about people I've never seen, never met. but looking forward to meeting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the Bastrop Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, follow us on Instagram at Bastrop Podcast and share it with a neighbor. We're here every week with new conversations from people who make Bastrop feel like home. Got someone you think we should interview? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you.